Oh, hey guys, I forgot you were there. Sorry about that. Oh, welcome to Mr. Shoe's Storybook Time. So, the first book I'm going to be reading you, boys and girls, is a book that one of our very own students in Miss Flannery's room checked out at the library, school library. So, it is kid approved because it's at your school library. And I am going to pick not so much a story as I'm going to pick a chapter within this book to describe. It's kind of a book, kind of like an encyclopedia, so it's going to be informative, but it's going to be on all things creepy and crawly. So, but not too scary. I don't want any of you guys to go home and have bad dreams. So, this is on stuff that's been in films and movies and books. It's all make-believe. It's all fantasy. And it's a book called Monster Manual, A Complete Guide to Your Favorite Creatures. And this actually is an old library edition. It's hardcover. It's the nice hardbound cover. I had to clean it, so it's still got some sticky residue on it. But probably shouldn't be wiping my eye. But so yeah, it's by Eric Ballinger or Ballinger. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. And even here in the title, right down there, it says there's no such thing as monsters. You probably can't read that, and it's probably backwards. But there's no such thing as monsters. So, nothing to be afraid of or scared. So this is a complete guide to your favorite creatures. So all these entries are in alphabetical order, A through Z. And I am going to pick a chapter, or I should say an entry. And I say, let's start out right at the beginning with a term you've probably heard before. And that is A for aliens. And you probably have seen aliens in all types of video games and books, movies, TV shows. A lot of you play video games. I shouldn't say all of you, but a lot of you play video games. And I'm sure there's some alien creatures in Fortnite, and maybe there's some in Roblox or in Minecraft, and in some of the cartoons you watch and animations. So, this is a quote at the beginning of the story. It says, "Teddy bears are out, monsters are in," and that's from Trendsetter magazine, which I've never heard of. And here's a little funny cartoon. It's got a boy being hung, like hooked from the bottom of a flying saucer, and it's got like an older guy, maybe his father, saying, "John Allen, stop all that nonsense about aliens." And you can see like the creepy guy. He's like the alien in there. It's right up there. Sorry about the bad quality, guys. And then there's the boy and the father. So there's a lot of people that think they've seen aliens or flying saucers or UFOs or a lot of weird things that have usually been explained in a rational manner, and sometimes just no explanation yet, that there's UFOs and aliens and there's alien life on planet Mars and all the other planets in our solar system, because we have such a vast solar system that has not been explored. Just like a tiny bit of our solar system really has been explored, which is why we send satellites in outer space, and we have missions going up in space shuttles from NASA and all the other countries of the world trying to explore outer space and see what's out there. So when people don't know something, they don't know that something for sure, or something that's a truth or concrete evidence. That's the word evidence. Like when the police solve a crime, they find evidence, and if it matches up with the crime, that's how someone would get like charged with a crime. But evidence is solid facts. It's not an opinion, it's not a guess, it's solid facts. And there's not much solid facts as to whether alien life forms in UFOs exist or not. So it's when something's not totally, there's no concrete evidence. It opens the door for people to make up their own theories and ideas and be like, well, maybe this could happen, and what if this could happen, and maybe that can happen. And it's kind of fun to like think of these different scenarios, these what ifs. So this is entitled Aliens. So it starts out with, it looks like the innards of a butchered cow, like at a butcher. Inside, like where you get your hamburgers and hot dogs and all that, is the inside of animals, and it's sticky, slimy. It says it's 8 feet long. It meows like a cat and eats humans. It bleeds green blood, oozy blood like slime. It comes from the farthest reaches of the universe, from Mars, from Pluto, from Planet X, or from the depths of the Andromeda Nebula. It is the scout for an invasion unit of similar creatures who want to colonize the Earth and enslave its inhabitants. They want to take over the planet. Is human life as we know it beyond all hope? Have no fear, Earthlings. This creature is merely one of hundreds of extraterrestrial monsters populating movies and TV. Just on movies and TV, not in real life. So this creature is merely, I just read that, an alien. It's what's described as an alien. They do quotation marks because it's a term that they're really, what is an alien? If they don't exist, we're not really sure. So it's a term they called an alien, what they call it. In a general sense, alien, we're going to go into the meaning of it, means foreign or unfamiliar here. So it's the unknown. Alien is foreign. We don't know what this alien is. We've never seen it before. We don't know if it exists. So in particular, an alien is a being from outer space. So not all aliens are bad. Not all aliens are bad. Some good aliens warn mankind, humankind, of war, nuclear bomb tests, and environmental pollution. So some aliens come, in the movies, they come and say, Earthlings, you're polluting the planet. You're making these bombs that are just causing destruction and nothing good comes of them. And after these bombs explode, there's all this radiation and poison and noxious fumes that are destroying plants, and humans can't breathe it. It's polluting the air and everything. And that's an underlying theme. That's what they talk about in a lot of films dealing with aliens and monsters. There's kind of a message like, hey, humans, let's not throw our trash all over, litter all over. Let's not waste water, waste energy, waste lights and electricity. Let's kind of clean up the planet and take care of our planet because it's the only planet we got. And with their outstanding intelligence, now we're going back to the aliens, and technological wizardry, they are quite helpful when it comes to the destiny of our planet. Two representatives of this category are E.T., and this might be a film or a character, an alien you know of. It's very big in my life because I saw E.T. when I was a little boy, about your guys' age. You know, I was probably kindergarten, first, second grade. But it's a film from the 80s, well before you and some of the teachers in the classroom before they were born. So, that's one I know, the film E.T. And Klaatu, from The Day the Earth Stood Still. This is a film that came out in 1951, like 26 years before I was born. So a long time ago. This is something my parents, or maybe your parents, probably before they were born too. Maybe your grandparents were around to see it, maybe in a movie theater. And bad aliens are more common, however. They are all ugly and unappetizing and starving for smack, slurp, yum, yum, human flesh. These classic movies, most of which are available on video, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, now streaming. These films might be streaming on Netflix or Prime Video or Hulu or HBO Max or Apple TV or whatever streaming service you have at home. They contain alien characters. Enemy from Space, 1957. The Creeping Unknown, 1956. The Thing from Another World. This is the half for the remake of The Thing, but the original Thing from Another World came out in 1951. And in the classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956. And of course, The Blob, 1958. These are all classic monster movies that have aliens in them. And monsters and aliens can kind of go hand in hand and switch them back and forth, flip-flop them. Monster fans know that these movies are fantasy, which means they're fake. They're created, they're manufactured to bring us 2 hours of undisturbed sweet horror. So people that watch these films like to be scared, and maybe sometimes they're not scared. They just think they're funny, or the creatures look goofy or ridiculous, and they just laugh. But they're for entertainment. They're to have a good time. And many people don't seem to realize this, as the following true story shows. But in 1938, this is even many, many, many years ago, on Halloween, the CBS station in New York City broadcast a radio play by Orson Welles, which was adapted from a novel by H.G. Wells, another author, and it was called The War of the Worlds. And I actually have a CD and maybe what's called an audio cassette tape of this program, of this reading of this story. It's like a radio play is what they call it. And the broadcast sounded very realistic. Without warning, dance music, and the radio announcer declared that an observatory had reported large explosions on Mars. An observatory is like one of those buildings that has a giant telescope that you can see all the way into outer space. It's so powerful. And a lot of astronomers will go there and they'll study comets and asteroids and planets. So there's a real famous one that's in California. It's been in a lot of films. Chicago has, I believe, an observatory downtown by the lake. And a lot of cities have observatories. The music continued. Then again, a speaker interrupted with a special report. A huge flaming object had fallen on a farm in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. He advised people to stay tuned and more information would follow. More music, and then came the frightening announcement. Strange creatures had boarded the object, shooting heat rays at the crowd of observers. And at least 40 people got hurt. The station's lines were blocked by hysterical callers. People stormed the streets and blocked traffic. Others rounded up their families, hoping to get out of town by car. People thought this was really happening, you know? And this is back in a time when everyone listened to the radio. There was no television. There was no cable. There was no internet. Like, people didn't have cell phones. Some people didn't even have phones. Like, the radio was their prime source, their main source of communication. So everyone would always listen to the radio at night. Like how now you would play your video games or go on the internet or watch movies. The families would gather around the radio and listen to music or talk or listen to the news. And it was kind of like the main electronical entertainment of the time. And so the traffic came to a standstill. Total panic's going on now. This whole situation was caused by a make-believe, a fake story about a Martian landing. A good number of intelligent people believe in the reality of alien life. So some people really believe this. These are really smart people, the scientists. So people that go to study this stuff for years and years and years. They think it's true, but who knows? Eric von Daniken, a Swiss writer and pseudo-archaeologist, which means he's not really a professional archaeologist. Kind of fake, maybe never got the degree, not officially an archaeologist. Pseudo's kind of phony a little bit. Claimed with all seriousness in his books that aliens visited the Earth thousands of years ago. The impression the aliens made on the people of the Stone Age can even be seen in their legends, their myths, and religion. Von Daniken says this. Scientists smirk, kind of like laughing or smirk. You're just like, okay, yeah, we believe you. They smirk condescendingly, which means kind of kind of being mean to him. Like they're like, this guy's a joke. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yet this guy's books, Von Daniken's books, sell by the millions. So millions of people buy these books and read them. And I'm sure a lot of people think this is true, that it's fact. So, by the way, just want to mention Von Daniken, this author, the Swiss author, he believes that the next visit by aliens will take place in this century. Have you got your laser beam disintegration pistol loaded and cocked? So in this century, now this book was written, let's check this book. This book was written, let's see, looks like the copyright is in 1989, the original edition. So this century, like, it's already passed. We're 21 years, almost 22 years into 2000. So this century would have been the last date or year, according to his prediction that he would have seen, that we should have seen aliens, would have been right before the year 2000. So guess what? He was wrong. And that is the Monster Manual's entry on aliens. If you're really into like stuff like aliens and UFOs and science fiction and stories of stuff dealing with science that haven't happened yet, usually science fiction or speculative fiction, as they call it now, is stories based on technology or science that is maybe possible in the future but has not come yet. Like, we're all not driving cars that can fly up in the air and float all around like in the Star Wars films or Star Trek movies, or, you know, cartoons like maybe like the Jetsons. And some of these cartoons you might not know of, or I'm trying to think, Johnny Neutron, whatever cartoons that deal with space and being in outer space. So this is a very long story. It took, a little bit of time. We're about 18 minutes in. I doubt Miss Flannery's going to play this whole story. Maybe she'll play part of it. Maybe we'll skim along. But that was my story I read, my reading of Monster Manual. I'm Mr. Shoe. And I know I'm not as cool as some of these actors on the story time you guys have every day, but I thought I'd read something from my collection of books. I also have another book, and I actually was trying to find a few books. They're kind of buried everywhere. I do have a lot of books everywhere. But another book I picked up recently is The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary. And I read this author's books and other books by her growing up as a kid when I was your age and older. And this does have a little pictures here and there of the mouse, but maybe I'll read a chapter or part of a chapter from this next time. But in the meantime, this is Mr. Shoe, and I appreciate you guys and gals listening to me and my story, and I should say, not my story, Eric Ballinger's story, but listen to my reading of it with a little bit of commentary, a little bit of my thoughts on it. So remember, guys, aliens and monsters are make-believe, and the movies and the stories are to chill you, to give you fear, to maybe like give you a little bit of excitement and drama, like, ooh, this is scary. But it's all fake in the end. And if you're scared of reading these stories, guess what? Once you close the book, the story is closed and you go back to reality in the world, and there's no monsters, at least monsters of that nature. But I hope you enjoyed the story, and remember, visit your local library, bring your library books back when it's time so you can get 2 more books at the library at school. And if you don't like reading, find something you do like reading. And I think once you find a subject, once you find a topic, something you like reading about, it'll make reading a lot more fun, because you're reading something you want to read about, you want to learn about, you want to know about. You're not just reading someone that a teacher or an adult or your parents tell you, I want you to read this. So whatever that may be, whether you want to read comics, the newspaper, a magazine, stories on the internet, on websites, as long as you're reading, I think it'll enrich your life and increase your vocabulary and mind, and then you'll be as cool as Mr. Show, Miss Flannery, and Mr. V. Got it? Till next time, keep reading.